The Illyrians were a group of Indo-European tribes that inhabited the Western Balkans and parts of southern Italy from the 2nd millennium BCE to the 4th century CE. They were known for their fierce resistance to the expansion of the Roman Empire, their piracy in the Adriatic Sea, and their rich and diverse culture. The Illyrians left behind a legacy of art, architecture, mythology, and language that influenced the later civilizations of the region. The Albanians are a modern nation that emerged in the late Middle Ages, in the same area where the Illyrians once lived. They speak a unique language that is considered to be the last surviving branch of the Indo-European family that is not part of any other subfamily. They have a distinctive history and identity that is shaped by their interactions with various empires, religions, and cultures. But what is the connection between these two peoples? Are the Albanians the direct descendants of the Illyrians, or are they the result of a complex mixture of different ethnic groups? How can we trace the origins of the Albanian people and their relationship to the ancient Illyrians? In this video, we will try to answer these questions by examining the evidence from archaeology, genetics, linguistics, and history. We will also look at the debates and controversies that surround this topic and the alternative theories that have been proposed. And we will address some of the common misconceptions and myths that have been spread about Albanian ancestry. Let's start by taking a closer look at who the ancient Illyrians were and what we know about their society and culture. The Illyrians were not a unified nation, but a collection of various tribes that shared a common language and culture. They occupied a large territory that stretched from the Alps in the north to the Pindus Mountains in the south, and from the Adriatic Sea in the west to the Morava River in the east. Some of the most famous Illyrian tribes were the Ardians, the Dalmats, the Dardans, the Taulants, and the Partheni. The Illyrians had frequent contacts and conflicts with their neighbors, such as the Greeks, the Romans, the Macedonians, and the Thracians. They were often involved in wars, alliances, and trade with these civilizations. They also developed their own political and military institutions, such as the Illyrian kingdoms, the Illyrian wars, and the Illyrian revolts. The Illyrians had a rich and diverse culture that reflected their geographical and historical diversity. They practiced a polytheistic religion that worshipped various gods and goddesses, some of whom were borrowed from the Greeks and the Romans, and some of whom were native to the Illyrians. They also had a complex mythology that included heroes, legends, and folklore. Some of the most famous Illyrian myths are the story of Cadmus and Harmonia, the founders of Thebes, who were said to be of Illyrian origin, and the story of Queen Teiota, the ruler of the Ardians, who defied the Romans and became a symbol of Illyrian resistance. The Illyrians also had a distinctive art and architecture that expressed their creativity and identity. They produced various forms of pottery, jewelry, metalwork, sculpture, and coinage that displayed their artistic skills and cultural influences. They also built impressive fortifications, tombs, sanctuaries, and cities that showcased their engineering and architectural achievements. Some of the most notable examples of Illyrian art and architecture are the 𝙎ᴪ coins, the Apollonia mosaics, the Lissus theatre, and the Skodra citadel. One of the most important aspects of Illyrian culture was their language, which was the main marker of their ethnic identity. The Illyrian language was an Indo-European language that belonged to a separate branch that was not related to any other known language. It was spoken by the Illyrians until the 6th or 7th century CE, when it was gradually replaced by the languages of the Slavs, the Romans, and the Greeks. The Illyrian language is poorly attested, as we have only a few inscriptions, names, and words that have survived. However, it is possible to reconstruct some of its features and characteristics, such as its alphabet, grammar, and vocabulary. The Illyrians were a remarkable people that played a significant role in the history of Europe.